Right, let's run you through the headlines from the morning newspapers. We're going to start this morning with the Irish Daily Mail. Lift-off. Everybody's happy, it seems, for now. Anyway, Horan Rocket sends Ireland to top of Group D. An FAI board calls meeting as Delaney row grows. That was the whole point of the protest last night, and it appears to be working.
The back page of the Mirror this morning has a tab of the morning to you, Ger. It's how are you being served? Goal hero Conor ignores tennis ball protest to fire Irish to vital victory. You've also got Sterling talking about the racism in Montenegro the other night. Shut them up by shutting down the stadiums. Raheem's zero tolerance.
The front of the Star is mixed doubles. Mixed doubles. Also a tab of the morning. Do you get it? Mixed doubles.
I get it. It's actually that I was actually tabbing one to you. Really.
Yeah. So we apologise to the Star subs for not getting a tab of the morning right. Ireland 1, Georgia 0. Dunphy. Mick must find a place for Doherty. I mean, it's true. Could have written that piece before the game. FAI and crisis talks. This is the ongoing drumbeat of the fact that there are talks going on. Game, set and match. Mixed men serve up a treat amid volley of protests. The tennis theme is one that the protesters wanted, and they got. And then an interesting story we'll come back to. Barca all set to bid for Rashford.
The back page of the Herald this morning is Mac on track. 2020 vision intact as Conor strikes to see off Georgia. And you've also got John Aldridge's big match verdict. Mick is our answer to Solskjaer. Baby-faced assassin Mick McCarthy.
One Love to Ireland is the front page headline, and it's a picture of John Delaney and his partner. Come on, you balls in green, is the back page headline. Ireland 1, Georgia 0. Mick McCarthy was beaming as demonstration turned into celebration in double quick time at the Aviva Stadium.
A couple of Munster men on the front of the Irish Examiner. You've got Conor Hourhan, you've got Kevin O'Donovan, and you've got Joey Carbery. Beside Conor Hourhan, you've got Bandon Bullet. Unfazed by tennis ball protest, Hourhan proves Ireland's ace. We'll come back to Carbery in a while, and we'll also come back to Kevin O'Donovan in a little while. Rebel revamp reads the headline at the front of the Irish Examiner sports section. Cork kickstarts GAA debate on championship games without county stars. There's interesting stuff there, and we'll get to that in just a moment.
The front page of the Times Ireland, obviously, who've been leading the way on the John Delaney story, is a picture of John Delaney and his partner Emma English at the 1-0 win yesterday. Fans calling for Mr. Delaney to quit the game's governing body, threw tennis balls onto the pitch in protest. They also chanted throughout the duration of the game, stand up for Delaney out was the chant, and it wasn't just the League of Ireland fans behind the goal, it was actually kind of fairly widespread around the stadium at various stages of the game as well. Horan's goal is game, set and match. Ireland 1, Georgia 0. And Best uncertain over his future with Ulster. That's a Declan Bogue story that's also carried in several of the newspapers, that Rory Best may actually continue to play for Ulster after the Rugby World Cup is over.
Back page of the Irish Independent is Hourhan the ace in the pack. Superb free kick follows fans' tennis ball protests to send Ireland top of the group. And you've also got that Rory Best story here as well, refusing to rule out the possibility of playing on with Ulster after the World Cup. We've also got Carbery could have waited, but New Deal is statement of intent. And the Breheny beat this morning as Cork may be in denial, but the truth is they are now in the second tier. He's making the point that if a B championship was introduced this season, Cork would most certainly be playing in it.
So the Irish Times is the picture of the celebration of Conor Hourhan as his teammates, the biggest head in world football, and Glenn Whelan get to him first to celebrate. Ireland find their mojo to leave Georgia bamboozled. We did only win 1-0. We are all getting carried away with a 1-0 win against a Georgia team who, you know, will cause us a lot of difficulties when we go out to Tbilisi if the game is there. But yeah.
Back page of The Guardian is a disaster, is the headline around Raheem Sterling. But the UEFA president, Alexander Ceferin, has been on the record hitting out at racist targeting of England players. And abuse case at Crewe, they've agreed first payout for Benel victims. So that's a big development there in that story, which Daniel Taylor has been following over the past couple of years.
So Texas Stars, golf's finest, looking to shine in Austin Showdown. This is the Racing Post's preview of the WGC Dell Technologies match play, which gets underway today. I would remind you that they did tip that Georgia would probably get something against Ireland yesterday, and how wrong they were after we hammered them by a goal to nil. Flat horses to follow. It's the start of the flat season proper last weekend in Naas. We will be talking about that obviously on Friday Night Racing. Johnson ready to rock on Casbah in quest for dream Aintree win. The national hunt season reminding you, of course, that it's not quite finished because still got Aintree and Punchestown to come.
There's an interview with Renee Richards leading the way in the Daily Telegraph sports section. The accidental pioneer, it says, how being sport's first professional transgender athlete became my life's work. And Sterling's race warning for English football. Premier League must be ready to shut stadiums in battle to beat bigots, says England forward. They've also got an interview with Justin Rose. It's a big weekend in the golf, actually, because you've got Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy on the same side of the bracket. If they both win once, you've got Rory versus Tiger, which would be quite interesting in the match play.
They're both, prone to being crap at match play at various stages.
That's the problem here. But let's just...
And they're both prone to being really good for just random weeks.
Ireland are prone to being crap against Georgia, and all of a sudden they weren't. So
world has turned.
Stranger things have happened.
Just before we get to that, the Irish news. GAA plans to increase the level of funding in Derry City, and then obviously there's a picture of Hurahan Magic bags Ireland 3 points. It's coming up to 4 minutes past 8 this morning here on Wednesday morning's OTBAM. We're with you with all the sports headlines. Where are we going next? What are some stories to get stuck into?
We're going to look inside the Irish Examiner this morning because Tony Lean and Owen Cormacan are working on a story from a Cork County Board meeting last night, which is going to revamp the county championship in Cork. And there's a couple of elements in it. It's on page 6 and 7 of the supplement. If you're from Cork, you'll have great interest in all of it. From a national perspective, though, the big talking point is around one of the options that they've put forward. So basically, option A for their new championship would be one that's based in April and August. Option B is a championship that's based in August only. But the one we want to focus on is option C, summer games, which basically would be one group game per month from April to July. And then August as well, with 3 or 4 games with county players for full points, 1 or 2 games in May or June without them for half points. So this is a right old shake-up. Is what's on the table, says Tony Lean. To play some of the championship games in summer without inter-county players isn't just left field, he says. It's an important and intriguing proposal, but more than that, it's a conversation starter for every other county association, henpecked and hampered by the 3% of elite players inadvertently dictating the other 97%. So he makes the point that clubs like Douglas, who have a huge amount of players in county teams, probably feel a little bit aggrieved by this because they've had their club structures in order for decades and they've produced top-class talent that plays for the county teams, and ultimately their championship prospects will be hampered by the fact that they're away playing with their county during the summer because they want to play summer games. The thing is, as he says there, this is 97% of the GAA body who ultimately don't get a whole pile of meaningful football or hurling during the summer months when you actually want to be playing football or hurling, when you want them to be staying at home if they have an option. It seems like an experiment that should be undertaken. Whether or not this is the final thing to be done, whether or not this is the answer to the malaise of club players at the moment, I'm not so sure, because county players are club players too. 1
group game per month from April with the county players, 2 games in August with the county players, 2 group games in May to July with or without county players for half points. That's not that egregious. It's 2 games and you get half points, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of the opposite of the Monaghan Star system. Regular meaningful games throughout the summer, more games for club players, more games with the county players, greater revenue across the summer, generous qualification. So it's only 1/3 of your games without your county players, and they only count half. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a baby step into that realm. But as I say, it's something worth looking at and seeing how...
The negatives there will be some championship games without county players, a grading up of second team players, and a risk of dead rubbers. This is all in the Examiner this morning if you want any of the more specific details of it. And the Cork County Board published the stuff last night in a press release.
The thing is some elements of the Cork setup hasn't not involved relegation at certain points, like ring fencing, top tier hurling and things like that. And it just seems completely nonsensical to me that there are a number of things that needed to be fixed here, first of all. But it's good to see that they're actually going out of their way to try new things, because we took the piss out of them last month or a couple of months ago for talking about Corkness, but really deeper than that was that report that they talked about when it came to reforming how Cork GAA operates. And it's radical ideas like this that will actually help them out. And every other county in the country should be looking at this thinking, God, this thing could help out. Because let's face it, if you're thinking about a county team perspective, if you have meaningful games in the summer, perhaps that prodigious 19-year-old isn't going on his J1. He might actually stay at home and play his county championship, and suddenly, he could be a county player in a year or two. So there might be offshoots of development for the county team as well. So it's not just a one-dimensional story, this, and fair play to Cork if they actually implement it.
Yeah, it's clear too that they now have a young, dynamic executive as opposed to Frank Murphy, who they've had in there since the Civil War. So let's move on. We're going to talk about Joey Carbery signed a new contract all the way up until 2022. This is big news for Munster because it means that the Carbery signing hasn't just been a loan signing for 12, 14 months or until Johnny Sexton retires, this does not overlap with Sexton's contract. It's not timed to finish at the same time as Sexton's contract. It's timed to finish a year after Sexton's next contract. So look, maybe Sexton continues on for an extra year, but it looks like Joey Carbery is embracing his new environment.
Well, it's funny. Well, he's in a new environment, his home environment now, the environment that he was born to play in. Like, it's interesting, you speak about the loan move that Joey Carbery went on to Munster. At what point does that loan move not look like a loan move in your head?
The bit where he signed a contract that takes him to 2022.
So this is it? You finally let go of the Carbery thing?
Well, I mean, you've stolen a player, you've had no involvement in the... I suppose that's what happens when you become a province who doesn't, look after your own the way you're supposed to do, who somehow gets away from your Corkness. What happened, Owen? How did they give away those grand traditions? Why is there no more O'Mahony coming through, no more Raj, no more Conor Murrays? Where's the next Conor Murray?
I guess New Zealand can feel particularly aggrieved that they developed this fantastic player and Munster managed to take it. So, I'm sure they'll be waking up this morning thinking to themselves, when is their loan move going to be over? And when is Joey Carbery coming back to us? But
great comeback.
Honestly, my heart does go out to you because you have made some legitimate points in this case. Mostly it's been talking nonsense, but
at some point,
ultimately it's a horrible moment for you.
No, not really. It's great for Irish rugby that he's found a home down there, and that I'm sure they will put talent worthy of him around him as well at some point. At some point they'll start developing their own talent though, right? That's what's going to happen here.
Say that again?
He's going to raise the boat that everybody will suddenly... They will be able to get their own talent as opposed to fielding an entire Leinster-Ulster backline, which is what kind of they're trending towards at the minute.
Well, I'm not entirely sure about that. You're picking out one or two very high-profile examples, obviously, and...
Chris Henry, or Chris Farrell... there's several of them there.
Joey Carbery and Chris Farrell, one of several people at Munster have not produced themselves. We wanted to move on to the Star because on the back page over there on your side of the desk, they've got Marcus Rashford, Barcelona, a couple of Manchester United stories actually doing the rounds this morning. We'll get to a couple of the other ones in just a moment, but basically Barca all set to bid for Rashford, says the headline there on the back of the Star. I think a £110 million bid.
Euros, yeah.
Euros going to Manchester United from Barcelona, apparently. Rashford in talks to improve his deal at Manchester United, so naturally this story could be floated out there. As I say, one of a couple of Manchester United stories doing the rounds this morning. L'Equipe have this, which is an interesting one. The Special League on, and...
What's it in English?
The Special League one, actually. I like the English pun for a French reading audience here. So could Jose Mourinho be going to France? For somebody who prides himself, it says, on actually winning league titles, well, it's a home run for Jose Mourinho. He could actually pad his CV nicely by going to Ligue 1.
Yeah, except it's going to be Monaco or Lyon, which, you're up against PSG.
Or
take the PSG job.
Take the PSG job.
Surely PSG are looking around going, no thanks. Look at our glittering array of attacking talent. We would like them to try and score some goals.
Or actually win something. I know it seems like a terrible time to make this argument, given what happened to PSG and who they got knocked out by, a team that had just escaped from the clutches of Jose Mourinho. But does the Jose Mourinho grip become more vice-like if you've got a league that you're flailing about in and you're not actually winning every week? If he is PSG manager, they may not be playing beautiful football, but they might be scoring goals. They might regularly in a more pragmatic way.
If he is the PSG manager, they are less likely to win the league than they are the Champions League. That's what's going to happen. He will poison that team, poison that squad to the point where they can't actually even win the league.
They want to win the Champions League. That's all they care about.
I was wrong about the Mourinho thing. I thought that he still had a little bit of juice left, but I was completely wrong. It turned out he didn't. There's a brilliant dig from Van Gaal about Mourinho. It's aimed at Solskjaer. This is in the Times Ireland edition, written by Oliver Kay. In an interview with BBC Sport, the coach after Mourinho changed to park the bus defensive tactics and played on the counter. Now there is another coach who parks the bus and plays on the counter. The main difference between Mourinho and Solskjaer is that Solskjaer is winning. He says they're the same, but just different. Same, but different. I mean, the difference is that Solskjaer is not an asshole. That's the difference.
Yeah, a happier dressing room. What do you make of John Aldridge's point that Mick McCarthy is Ireland's Solskjaer?
What?
What do you make of John Aldridge's point that Mick McCarthy is Ireland's Solskjaer?
Well, he's not. He's not.
The two comparisons you can make is that, first of all, it's a happier camp. People are smiling, people are joking, it's more jovial. But second of all,
everybody was smiling when Stan arrived. We won 3-0 against Sweden. Everybody was smiling. We scored a great goals. It was brilliant. Everybody was happy. So let's just cool the jets on this.
I'm not sure. Like with Stan, we really did not know what we were getting. Whereas with Mick McCarthy, we very much do know what we're getting, and already it's showing green shoots. But also the Solskjaer comparison. Solskjaer had a pretty nice couple of early fixtures to get his momentum running, and Mick McCarthy also has that.
I'm buying that. I'm buying the way to Denmark in the next game. Not so easy, and then we've got Gibraltar at home. So, if we get another 6 points after that, then let's go and celebrate. All right, that is your papers this morning.